Hello everybody, welcome back to Road to Master. I hope you're all having an amazing day. We're starting off with the white pieces against a 2032 from Norway. Interesting opening. E6, B6. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Let's do what we usually do when we don't know, and that is a G3 fianchetto. Let's play D3. D3 goes into kind of like the King's Indian attack, which we play against both the French. Well, we can play against both the French and the Sicilian. And after a C5, this is going into a quote-unquote Sicilian style structure, so I'm relatively comfortable with that. You know, it's not ideal, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. And yeah, it's just a French Sicilian, really. We're gonna play knight d2. They're looking to push either of these pawns, and that's what's annoying about playing d6, is that you can still push either of these pawns. If you play d5, we're looking to play an e5 ourselves and lock this up with a d4, so we can go all out with a kingside attack, but less likely to happen now. I'm going to play a h4. Am I? I think so. I don't mind a h4. The plan is usually to get the knight on g4. They're looking to play an e5 here. Potentially have to go e5. We can't really... We can actually do that. But this d pawn gets super weak then. So maybe we want to play a d4 first. I don't mind playing a d4 first. Takes, and we get 2 pawns in the center. A bit loose, but not the end of the world, I don't think. Not the end of the world at all. If they push, I'm very happy. Like, very happy if they push. Because we're looking to just lock up the center, really, and carry on with our kingside attack. They go queen c7, so they're probably looking to take here. I would be more inclined to play e5 in this situation, potentially. Although it's not like an immediate given move. You know, you've got to seriously think about the consequences of playing e5. I think you probably lose a pawn at the minute. No, you don't. So we could do, and we probably should do, to be honest. Knight takes, bishop takes, you got knight takes. It's just fine. And it stops them getting e5. Yeah. I think we should do that. We want to try limit their space as much as possible. They play d5. We're happy again. Obviously, they can't because of the knight. And that's one of the downsides about playing knight b to d7, is that you don't have the retreat square for this knight. So this knight in the French usually wants to go to c6. So you're sort of hitting this d pawn at the same time as letting this knight come in as well. And you're defending the e pawn as well. So if they played this knight to c6, they could just drop this back, and all of a sudden they've got 2 more. They've got another attacker on the e pawn as well. Which, hey, you know, that's just a thing. You know, it's just a thing. I don't know whether it's good or bad. It's just a thing. I'm sort of inclined to take this way, but I think we have to sort of take this way. And we're playing this more like an exchange. We want to really get a knight on d6, I think, is the way to play it. Where the bishop goes is a good question. Probably f4 to support this d6 square, sort of through the pawn, potentially. You could also go to e3, but then you're cutting off your support for the e-pawn with your rook. You could also trade it off on g6. They're obviously not anymore. They go for knight there. Not much of a threat, really. We can just go knight to c4, surely. Look to get in on d6. And then get this bishop to f4 if we need. Yeah, not too upset. If they take as well, we take with the bishop. because then we're threatening the rook with a see-through, also the knight at the same time as well. So that doesn't work for them. That does not work for them. Yeah, they go rook there. We probably just go knight there, right? And potentially do something here. In fact, yeah, we can. We can do knight takes, queen takes, and then just knight h2 wins this knight, right? With the discovered attack on the queen. Tactics, I think, work. I think the tactics work. I'm very happy about that. They decide to give up the exchange. Now, I'm going to take this bishop. I think this bishop is free. Because we can take with either the queen or the bishop. I think I'm more inclined to take with the queen. And just maybe go even queen c6 here. The rook's still under attack. So after they go like rook b8, we're still covering this knight again. We can think about going bishop f4, and they just resign there. They just resign there, which is fair enough. I'll definitely take that one. Definitely take that one. Let's have a quick look at this. That was a weird game. That was a very weird game. Yeah. I don't know how to explain it. 88.8% accuracy versus at 83.9. Apparently we messed up slightly, and then obviously we saw that little tactic. And yeah, 2400 versus 2200. So this is just weird from the start. B6. I don't know what your idea is. I know you probably they probably want to play like a double fianchetto system. I don't know, or like a Queen's Indian maybe. I don't really know the Queen's Indian or the moves behind it. I think you probably end up going d6 rather than e6 though. Not that I know anything about the Queen's Indian, but yeah, just weird. I mean, I get that a lot of the pressure in the French is on like these two light squares, so it sort of makes sense to get the light squared bishop involved. I also like this a6 square for the light squared bishop, especially if we like castle and get the queen on e2. There's like an immediate fork there with the rook and queen on these two squares, which makes sense. And like obviously the computer's going to suggest we take the space in the center. Like they're always going to do that. But if you're playing these sort of system openings, I won't particularly call the King's Indian attack a system, but sort of like the way I play it almost is you get these moves in every game and then you just go from there. He's never going to particularly like them. But none of these moves are bad. Like you see, they're all like excellent moves. They're not the best moves. They're all perfectly fine. The idea of h4, by the way, not only are you advancing your pawn to potentially do a pawn break, you want to go knight h2. To go to g4, or you want to bring this knight to f1 to h2 to g4, which is a bit of a maneuver, I will admit. Is crazy to think about, but especially if they lock this up in the center, it's worth it. Like they'll go there, like say you go there, not there, there, and then say they mess about for a bit. We'll shuffle. Blah, 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 blah. They move this knight out of the way, whatever. You know, this, like I said, they move the knight to c6 and move this knight back. You get a lot of pressure on the king side very quickly with this knight g4 idea. So yeah, that's the whole idea behind it, basically. They let us push e5, which I think is good for us. Takes. And this is a structure I'm semi-familiar with. It's not nice. It is a loose pawn. You know, you're going to have to work to defend it. But you also do get some really nice coverage of their sort of camp, basically. Like, you get a lot of controlling squares in their area. Especially this d6 square is huge. It's a scary looking knight, but it's also quite awkward. It sucks that we played h4 here because I would love just a h3 and kick it away. Trade off the bishop there for it as well would be really nice. And this is actually the mistake here. So we have to play bishop f4 for some reason. And the reason knight d6 is a mistake is because of knight takes, Knight takes. That's a lot of trades. That is a lot of trades. The reason it's a mistake is because of this takes. And all of a sudden the knight's pinned, which is very, very scary. So you have to take, I'm guessing. Was that the move? Yep. And then knight takes. Take this knight. Takes. And then you go queen a4 is a really nice idea. Hitting this loose rook. They give it and block the mate with bishop f8, and this is a wild position. What's the material? You're up a pawn, but positionally worse because you've got no light squared coverage around your king. That's scary. That's scary. You're potentially at risk of getting this queen trapped. Maybe like a b5 or something is an okay idea, just to limit the amount of squares, because the queen can't actually go anywhere if you manage to get a b5 in. Luckily it's our turn, so we probably want to go b5 straight again. No. Oh, there's this fork to worry about as well. Oh, what's the best move then? Hello? You're gonna best move? Bishop there. What? What? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just connect the rooks. Sure, I like a b5 here. I'm fond of a b5. Oh, you've got this knight to worry about. That's a good point. That is a good point. Ignore what I've just said. And yeah, we just take this knight. We just take the bishop, sorry. They took with the wrong knight, which is probably seeable. I mean, I missed it because I'm stupid. But yeah. Yeah, this is an obvious pin, to be fair. I don't know why neither of us saw it. But hindsight is 2020. So, yeah, they took with the wrong knight, and then we get this bishop. And the reason this works is because queen takes, you do this. So, queen takes knight. You take this knight with the discovered attack from the bishop on the queen. Now, they can potentially do queen takes bishop. And then king takes, and then knight takes with a discovered attack again on the queen. Apparently all the best moves somehow, which is insane. But yeah, that's crazy. But they take with check, which is fair enough, but then queen takes. And you're covering the knight, which is almost trapped. Yeah, it does have this a5 square, but if they manage to go rook b8, which is okay, then it's covered twice by the queen and the bishop. And like we said, queen c6 sort of forces off the queens in a manner that benefits us, I think. Rook e6? Oh my gosh. What? That's insane. What? Pawn takes, you just win the bishop? King f8? Oh, king f8, you've got bishop d5. Oh, knight e5. Oh, you just go mate there. Yeah, you can't stop that. Wow. So the king goes back to stop mate. Then what? Bishop f4 hits the queen. Oh my gosh, where's the queen going? Where's the queen going? Oh no. Oh, that's beautiful. You sack the rook with a mating threat. And a trapping of the queen is, that's a hard one to spot. That's a real hard one to spot. They can go like bishop d6 to try prevent stuff, but it doesn't really change the outcome. That's a beautiful game, and we got some points. We're on 2019, so we're getting up in there. We're getting up in there. We can clearly compete with the 2000s. You could say we're getting a bit lucky with these games, but I'd say you make your own luck. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Please like if you liked. Please subscribe if you really liked, and I'll catch you guys all tomorrow. Bye bye.